Hey guys, welcome back to Vertical Momentum. I'm your host, Richard Kaufman, also known as the Comeback Coach. Guys, if you're like me, if you struggle with anxiety, depression, PTSD, this episode is for you. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, because we're giving you information that's found nowhere else on the internet. We're talking to my brother, J.R. We're going to be talking about ptsd and equine therapy. And this is very close to JR's heart because his dad is a true American hero, Vietnam veteran. So he knows the ins and the outs of what we deal with and what we struggle with. But guys, what we're going to talk about is what is the Veterans Ranch? And this is what I want. I'm so glad and honored to be able to talk to JR. JR, my brother, how are you doing today?
Man, doing absolutely awesome. Thank you for having us on here today, and thank you to all your fans out there watching and listening today. Hopefully, we really bring some education to you as to who we are, what we do, and how God's majestic animal, the horse, can really help you all out there.
All right, so I got a question before we even get started because you've been around your dad. I'm sure you've been around some of his friends. You've been around veterans, first responders. So you're pretty well versed in resilience. What is your definition of resiliency?
Honestly, never quit, never give up. Sounds like a coined cheap answer, but I tell you what, my dad and I have a saying that anything that we do, you're going to see us at the top of the mountain, or you're going to find us dead on the side from trying, because we ain't coming back down. So anybody out there right now that's fighting through something, everybody's walked through something in their life. I'm a huge proponent of dropping the D off the end of this. It's not a disorder. Y'all have walked through some things in your life that you now have to process differently. The government calls it a disorder, so you can qualify for some benefits. So never stop, never give up. If you need that crisis hotline, dial 988 and press 1. Always ask for help. One thing that I teach civilians, because I'm a proud patriot. Okay. I didn't wear the uniform. My wife didn't wear the uniform. As you said, my dad did. Always ask for help. Always strive and move forward. Never quit. They teach you to fight together as a unit. Please do not suffer in silence when you hang that uniform up. You're too important. Somebody needs today to know what you know, so you can reach back, grab that next veteran coming out, and maybe pull yourself out of the darkness while you pull them out at the same time.
And, that's something that I truly love. And I mean, we'll talk about it later, but I truly believe that when an adult acts out, it's usually because of something that happened between the ages of 3 and 13. Then you add alcohol to the mix, or drugs, not all the time. And then if you add war to the mix, it becomes like the perfect storm. And nobody can tell you how to get out of the perfect storm unless they've been there. And I think that's where people like me, you, your dad, we can reach down, pull somebody else up and say, listen, I'll take the arrows for you right now until you're ready. And because, and we know that the guys are like, they've been where we've been. So we trust them and we'll let them help us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I never claim to have walked in your guys' boots, right? I always say I wear cowboy boots. I never wore combat boots. Sometimes I kiddingly, I say kiddingly, say I feel like I have, because I am surrounded by veterans on a daily. I kid with my wife and say, hey, I'm talking to this group, and this group. So if I'm a little more salty by 6 p.m. than I was at 6 a.m., just understand who I was talking to. I love, honor, and respect everything you guys did. I preach to a lot of civilians. Y'all are the 1%ers, the real 1%ers that raised your right hand and said, I'll go, send me. Right. I mean, here's another thing I talk about a lot that people need to understand, because we don't talk this way anymore, but we need to get back to it. Somebody could be slinging eggs for 20 years and pick the branch of service, right? In the Marine Corps, they always say everybody's a rifleman. They may have to lay down the spatula, grab their rifle, and give their last full measure of devotion for their country. They aren't a door kicker. They're not tip of the spear. They're not Ranger Battalion, SEAL Team 6, fill in the blank. But they may have to give up their last full measure of devotion for their country, and all they're doing was slinging eggs. There's 99% of this population that said, no, that ain't for me. So I will always reach out and respect and honor the ones that did that.
I love it. And me too. You know, I believe that, like, when I went in, I was 17 years old. Back then you could. But it's a big mindset change when at the age of 17, you're signing your life insurance over to somebody, knowing that, hey, I could be taken out at any time. You know, so it's a big mindset change when you come to that realization that I'm writing a check. The government's writing a check up to including maybe my life or my battle buddy's life. And a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people think, well, they just go to school, you know, to go to get college money. No, I mean, we're willing to die for you. That's why I love watching the Army-Navy game, because everybody on that field is willing to die for everybody watching in the stand. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. You know, I try and keep things light, because obviously what we're talking about here is a very serious topic. It needs to become more water cooler talk. It needs to be more daily, because our politicians aren't going to talk about it unless they're trying to garner votes. It's not mainstream media news or any of that. It's up to us patriots out here. And that includes everybody that wore the uniform. You're now a patriot that happens to be a veteran. You know, the joke I always put out there to people is the difference between the chicken and the pig. The chicken only has to give up the egg. The pig has to give up the bacon. Right.
Wow.
That's the check y'all are writing when you sign on the dotted line. And we'll get into this more, but that's why we don't charge veterans or their immediate household family for what we do, because you sign that check already. That's all the payment we need.
Okay. And I love that. So we're definitely going to talk about that. But like we said, you know, your dad is a Vietnam veteran, and we know how they got treated when they got home. And we know how back then it wasn't PTSD, it was shell shocked, or they got their bell rung. So what was it like growing up as a child with a parent that served our country and seen some stuff that they never should have seen anywhere else?
You know, that's a great question, because it's interesting. Yeah, my dad coming home through San Francisco International Airport, you know, a bunch of Hare Krishnas and hippies spit on, call him baby killer. They don't know what he did or didn't do, right? None of them did. It's a shitty part of the country that, you know, in our history that we had at that time. Quite honestly, Vietnam guilt is what created a lot of what we have today. But I tell you, it was very interesting as a Gen Xer. You know, I'm almost 50. It was interesting because my dad's Vietnam. My grandfather was at the tail end of World War II in Big Red 1. So, you know, and then of course he had post-depression parents. So F your feelings, go out and make a difference in the world, and that dash between when you're born and when you die. Strict household, but with rules. We had freedom to screw up. Dad would always say, I'm going to give you enough rope to hang yourself, and then I'll reel you back in and correct you. But there was always, and I understand this now as I'm older, because him and I've had plenty of conversations about this. We've been self-employed together north of 20 years, which is another great experience. But it was policies, procedures, and enforced disciplines, or you got chaos. Now, I don't know many kids that truly understand that, but reflecting back, you know, you understand it. There were things that had to be done on the daily. You know, my dad got out in 73, went to work for a company called Avco, which was kind of the savings and loan company of the Midwest before there was such a thing. So I didn't really have that military brat life, but I had an Avco brat life. Every 2 years, they'd move us around somewhere else until I got to about kindergarten age. And then he said, look, you know, I got out of the Navy because he wasn't going to be a Navy brat. He's not going to be an Avco brat. And, you know, things changed from there. But, you know, again, it was very strict. It was very patriotic. You stood for the flag, you knelt for the cross, you went to church, and you respected your elders, and you saluted your military. You know, growing up in the 80s, 90s, we didn't say thank you for your service. It wasn't the coined phrase, but you'd always go up and shake a veteran's hand if you saw him, look him in the eye and give him that firm handshake and at least say thank you. And so it was very cool. And I take a lot of those things that I learned from back then and apply them to everything we do today.
All right. So now, I have a lot of friends that are Vietnam veterans that the only time they will talk about what happened over there is if they had a few beers in them, or if it was somebody else that was there with them. That's the only time they'll ever talk. Like,
I hear a lot of the funny stories, where you stiffed the jeepney to where you made, so you wouldn't miss Cinderella Liberty, or, the jeepney's running people off the road to get you back and all that kind of stuff. I heard one funny war story just because I could picture my dad doing it. We're on both sides of my family. We're German, Irish, Austrian, and Native American. So some days just pick the chip on our shoulder. My dad was United States Navy, running Marines upriver on a PBR, running the dual 50 cals on front. So, he got to see a lot, I'm sure, of what, the worst humanity had to offer at the time. And he had one of these, they're on a hot beach. They're all of a sudden out of the clear blue. One of these, how do you feel about this war reporter, sticks a mic in his face. Long story short, he said he grabbed his combat 45, put it to this guy's head, and that's what made him wet his pants. Not the hot beach, but like, oh shit, this guy's going to kill me. Said, look, I'm getting off this beach alive. If you want to, go take some effing cover and leave me alone and get away from me. I can picture my dad doing that. So that's the only funny war story I know. But they're right; they don't talk about it. And as an organization, if you want to share. It might be some pretty raw stories, but we got big shoulders. We can take it. But we don't want you to have to relive all that. You lived it once. So we don't press, I hate when people go, how many people did you kill? I don't want to know any of that. You don't need to relive any of that. You can't move forward by living in the past.
The only point that I'm trying to get to is, I'm sure it was just your mother that saw those waking up in the middle of the night in the hot sweats, the crying, the stuff, the mental anguish that he didn't want to put upon his kids, because back then there was nobody to talk to. You couldn't just call the VA hotline. There was nobody. And now we have people like yourself that we can actually go to. So that was the only reason I wanted to bring that up, because back then there wasn't a whole lot of support systems. And, your mom probably dealt with a lot of that, like you said, the sleepless nights, the nightmares and stuff like that. So I want to give her props too.
Yeah, well, and thank you for doing that, because when we thank a veteran for their service, we thank the whole family, because the family serves. They're just in a different brigade, right? They're worried about the one deployed, or, trying to fight strong for the kids because they got to move every 2 years or whenever Uncle Sam says go. So thank you for that, because we try and do the same thing.
Okay, so like I always tell everybody, I may be the sergeant, but my wife is the general. So she outranks me all the time. Before we get into why you're doing what you're doing, I want to thank our sponsors. Guys, that I love my veterans. I love taking care of my veterans. So that's why I came out with my new t-shirts, my new coffee mugs. Because if you're going to hang out, watch Vertical Momentum, you might as well have your Vertical Momentum coffee, drinking out of your Vertical Momentum cup. But the best thing is, besides supporting our show, it's also from, like, our t-shirt says, today I decided. And on the back of the t-shirt says, this t-shirt saves lives. Ask me how. This is just ways to, when you're out and about, if you're wearing a t-shirt, somebody might be struggling with something. And if they see the back of your t-shirt, that might just open up the conversation. But the 100% of my proceeds go to help veterans struggling with PTSD and homelessness. So if you want to support the show while also saving lives, check us out down below at Really Designs, and I'll get you guys the information. And also, if you guys, we were talking earlier, JR has a show on StreamYard. I have a show on StreamYard. If you guys want to start your own show, StreamYard will actually throw you some cash to start your own show. So you can't beat that. So now talk to us a little bit about, like you said, you and your dad been in business for over 20 years. How did this all start? How did this all come about?
This is all divine intervention, brother. I tell you, at a young age, my dad always taught me to keep a legal pad by the bed in case you get an idea in the middle of the night. I've had a lot of legal pads with a lot of half-ass ideas. Most of them went nowhere. To this day, I still have the one legal pad that has the word ranch written on it. October of 2017. So we're coming up on our 5-year anniversary here. And I scribbled the word ranch. Had no idea what that meant. My wife and I were almost 23 years married here. You know, I thought nobody loved horses more than me until I met her. We wanted a couple horses in our little piece of Americana. The word ranch never came into play. Well, a lot of praying, a lot of thinking about it, a lot of just staring at that legal pad. We're headed to Bass Pro Shops one day. Of course, I went over the idea with my dad, and he was doing the same thing. We stopped at a Chili's for lunch. And the reason why I say the good Lord and horse, because I couldn't come up with all this on my own. My wife, she must have seen smoke coming out of my ears, and I asked for a pen. About 20 Chili's napkins later, just because they're not that big. The ideas for the Veterans Ranch were born, and December of 17, we were a charity. The mission's been the same from the jump. It's been polished over the last 5 years, but we want to use equine therapy to help veterans and their immediate household families to do what we do to come full circle, to help lay down heavy coats of burden and begin to start walking off as a new and improved version of yourself. When you see our brand, you'll see the horse and the circle, and that's what that's all about. Everything we do is intentional and with purpose.
Okay, now, like we were talking about, before we got on, me and you are both dog lovers. I got my baby dog upstairs, but like you were telling me, and I want you to tell, about what a horse will do to run to you. So, a lot of people that I know that are in equine therapy say, a dog and their master love each other, but there's some kind of ESP, whatever they call it, between a horse and a veteran or first responder. So talk to us a little bit about the closeness.
Sure. Horses are absolutely, unless there's something out there I haven't met yet, the most intuitive animal on the planet. They literally can feel a gnat land on their back, but know everything about you up to 10 plus feet away. A human's energy field is 5 to 7 feet. So most people can almost run up on you and sneak up on you before you know they're there. But a horse is 15 to 30 feet. Why? Because they're pack animals and prey animals. Okay, their only defense mechanism outside of running from the situation, which is their nature to do, flight 99% of the time, all they can do is bite you or kick you. Now, that hurts us like hell, but that's not much of a defense mechanism in the wild. Horses want to know two things. Are you strong enough to be my leader, and are you going to hurt me? Now, you'll spend your whole life working on that with your own horse. Imagine one you just met 10 minutes ago, okay? First thing we're going to do is we want to talk to you. First of all, we want to see if there's anything above our pay grade that you're dealing with right now that we can assist you with, okay? Not just give you a phone number or a business card. Stay in touch, warm handoffs and introductions to people. We're going to put one of these simple things in your hand called the grooming brush. And we're going to get you to start working a rhythmic motion of grooming that horse. One, it teaches you a new skill. One thing we hear from most veterans is they miss the daily activities, the missions that have to be accomplished, big or small. So you're going to start working with that horse. You're going to start changing your mindset and start laying down baggage. In sales training, when I ran sales offices, we'd say, hey, leave your personal crap at the door to be there when you get back. Well, obviously, we want there to be less crap to pick up when you get back, okay? A horse is so loyal. My dad calls him your seventh sense. The guy in your unit that knew everything about you, the good, the bad, the ugly, all the warts. But you're there to get him home. He's there to get you home, and there's no judgment. Literally. Now, of course, we don't want any of this to happen, but a horse will run for you at top speed until its heart explodes and dies. And that's loyalty. And you men and women that wear the uniform don't see that much. Your family, your friends, your job will let you down. But I'm here to tell you, and all the horse people out there watching this right now are going to go like this. You will let your horse down before your horse lets you down.
Okay, so, but now, because a lot of times I told my wife I'm going to start a worldwide podcast that's going to affect millions of people. And she looked at me like I had three heads. So sometimes I think, when we have these ideas, like you said, I think it's a God thing, and and then we just roll with it. So as you're writing down all this stuff on napkins, because everything starts with the mind, and and then it goes into action. So okay, you have all these napkins, and now you're like, now what? I have the ideas. How do I act upon them? Because a lot of people that are listening are veterans or entrepreneurs or both veterpreneurs, and they have great ideas, but it's all it ends up is just being an idea. There's no action behind the idea. So tell us a little bit about, you had the idea. What was the action after the idea?
Well, the action behind it is I reached out to my family attorney. I was smart enough to know that you don't set up a nonprofit by just going online and a few clicks and you're done. I asked him if he set him up. He said no, but I've got somebody that specializes in that, and she can help you set it up. Well, long and short, she's telling me all the costs that are going to be involved in it and everything else. And in the back of my mind, I'm going, yeah, I don't have that kind of money yet. But she kept telling me about how her husband's 76 Corvette, about how he kept complaining about, how it just wouldn't run right or this or that needed fixed. Well, I'm originally from St. Louis. Okay. I grew up with grandparents that spent 47 years working a Carter carburetor and 38 years at General Motors. I can turn a wrench. So I'm a gearhead as well as a real horse guy. a lot of different kinds of horsepower. Long story short, I fixed her husband's car. She set up our nonprofit. Okay. I shot my shot, right? I thought, well, I only got one chance at this. I asked, she said, if you can fix his car, I'll set up your nonprofit. Now, does that happen every time? No, probably 99 out of 100. Most people would say no. But again, like you said, the God thing, when it's right, it's right. If you're not pushing that rope uphill, but you got to ask, right? You say, okay, it just becomes an idea. Well, you got to turn that idea into action. You got to shut out the world. Because your friends, your own family, that's stupid. That'll never work. Take that log and put it in the belly and the fire in the belly and keep pushing forward. So what if it's a stupid idea? Some of the dumbest idea. Come on, you tell me that Chia Pet wasn't a dumb idea? They've made billions selling those things, right?
So, or the pet rock.
The pet rock. Somebody had that dumb idea that at late night, in 1995, but wait, there's more. People are buying them by the droves. So have that determined specific, write down your goals. And I'm not, talking, the motivational stuff as people say it, although I'm a big believer in that. Write down some short-term goals that you want to accomplish with this new business or new venture, whatever it is, and go for it. That's what we had to do. My first thing was, okay, we now have the paperwork, we're official. Now we've got to get out and let people know. Because like most charities, you start with a mission, a battle you want to win, and not a lot of money. I mean, the woman that started Mothers Against Drunk Driving started it in the bedroom of her deceased daughter, that got hit by the drunk driver walking to church. She had no money, but she wanted to end, this happening to other people's kids. So get out there, push forward. Don't take no for an answer. Again, I know these all sound easy, but folks, I'm putting in 80-hour a week, still 5 years in, and I got a phenomenal team of an advisory board behind me, but I'm still putting in the work because you have to, because you can't ask other people to do something you haven't done 10,000 times yourself. That's leadership. And y'all know how to do that, right? Y'all wore the uniform. A lot of you were in leadership positions. So take those skills you learned that the job market will tell you, oh, you're overqualified or your skills don't fit this job. Screw them. Go do it yourself. You know how to do it. Believe in yourself and keep pushing forward.
All right. So now take us through, somebody calls you up, says, hey, hey, JR, my name is Richard Kaufman. I suffer from PTSD, anxiety, depression. What are the steps that they take? What is the next steps?
Sure. First of all, we might just sit there and have a half-hour, 45-minute conversation.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of times we make a phone call. Oh, we'll call you back, and then you never hear from anybody again. And I know that you guys aren't like that. So what are the steps?
Yeah, we first of all, if we are busy and you got to leave a message, please leave a message, shoot us an email, something. We get 9 times out of 10 you're going to hear back from me directly, but we are going to get back to you. I've got a book sitting over here right now at 3 people I got to call today. We will get back to you. We just don't leave you out there, but we are going to sit and talk with you. One, just get to know you, and find out who you are, what you're doing in business, anything we can help you with. Now, sure, we'd love to give everybody cash that needs cash for everything, but you can't say yes to everybody on that, or you end up broke and you don't have a foundation to help others. So there are times where we have done that in the past. But we want to get you to a new place in life, and sometimes that isn't always cash. So we're going to talk. We're going to get you scheduled to get in the program at our next event. We travel the state of Florida and parts of Texas, doing day-long and weekend-long clinics so we can reach as many veterans as humanly possible right now. We're working on getting our own piece of dirt. Again, we started this with not a lot of money, and then we rolled through COVID, and then we rolled through the crazy real estate market of prices in Florida and Texas being double what they were 2 years ago. So we continue to travel the 2 states and reach as many veterans as possible. So we'll want to get you plugged into the system, so when and where we're going to be.
Okay, so what if you're like a person like me, or a lot of us don't live in Florida, don't live in Texas. We live in Jersey or New York. How do you work that out?
Well, we're growing and expanding that. One, we have a great referral network. Okay, this is not just about us or me or who gets the credit for this. Everybody needs to get the help. If I've got people in your area and we're not there yet, we're going to refer you to those people, because it's about you staying on this earth and getting the help you need, not just, I can't do nothing for you because I'm not there yet. That's not what it's about. However, we have opened up what we call our affiliate ranch program. If you are not a nonprofit already and you have some land and horses, could be 5 acres and 2 horses, doesn't matter. Most of what we do is groundwork anyway. We can show you how to come under our umbrella and be us in your neighborhood. So, just within 10 counties of where I sit here in Florida are north of 500,000 veterans. I could put 10, 15 affiliates just in those counties, but there's 19 million veterans, sea to shining sea. So how many can we put out there and start getting equine therapy to people that maybe didn't even know it existed?
And, I think that's what you do and what you guys do are actually helping reduce the numbers. Now, we've all heard, and we talked about this earlier, but, we've all heard that number 22. We all know, if people that are in our circles, that number is bullshit. Fox News had something come out recently. I think the number is even higher than the 44 that they say, because half the states in the United States, they don't record suicides, or they don't record somebody drinking themselves to deaths, or they don't record overdoses, so I think the number's so much higher. But you guys are doing something really special. We have a Vietnam wall. We got a wall for this. We got a wall for that. But we don't have a wall for people that have come home and lost the fight to our own personal demons. But you guys are actually making a virtual wall. Please talk to us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't agree with you more. The article that came out, it only talked about eight of the best reporting states out of the 50. So, and that put us at 44 a day. So imagine, God knows where we'd be if the other 42 reported as good as the 8. What we've created, folks, is Operation Final Roll Call. I give my dad 200% credit on all this. Okay, this is his idea. Again, as Richard said, we have walls for everything: monuments, memorials, traveling walls. There's nothing out there for the great men and women, the 1%ers that wore the uniform, served overseas, maybe just didn't serve overseas at all, but maybe still saw some things that they're having a hard time dealing with, and they check out off this planet. Folks, we are losing bare minimum 16,000 plus great Americans a year that deserve to still be here, but lose the battle with the demons. So when you go to our website, theveteransranch.org, you're going to see a red button right at the top of the page that says Operation Final Roll Call. The way they left this planet is not the way we want them remembered. It's not the way their families want them remembered. It's not who they were. The demons took them out. They didn't take themselves out. They were brothers and sisters, husbands and wives, athletes, scholars, just great people that decided to protect and defend our way of life. So when you go to Operation Final Roll Call, you can upload your family member, your friend, as long as you have, permission from the family to post it. Post a couple of pictures, a bio of who they were, what conflict they served in, and what branch they served in. And we are honoring on this virtual wall all the ones that have checked out off this planet because they deserve to, because no one else is gonna if we don't.
Okay. Now, as you guys know, this show, I always love ending on a high note. So, tell us some of the, and of course we don't use names or anything like that because other legal crap, but tell us some of the success stories of veterans or first responders that have come into your come onto your ranches totally lost, but just being with that animal has changed their lives.
Tell you the most recent one we had, because obviously we have a bunch. The most recent one I have this will touch your soul. We had a gentleman come all the way down from Jacksonville. It was about a 4-hour drive. We were doing a full weekend, camping, fishing, liberty training. For liberty training, it is you, a horse, a round pen, and a training flag. That's it. No lead rope, no halter. You can't tug on that horse and make it bend to your will. You have to truly build that bond of trust. Beautiful white mare. To date myself, for everybody that remembers the Lone Ranger, okay, yeah. It looked like silver. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous horse. He's in the arena, and we knew he had something he was dealing with, but like most veterans, he just wouldn't share about it. But we knew there was something there. We're trying to tell him to relax because you got it like anything else, right? In order to make it through, again, and I'm preaching from what I learned from veterans, not from firsthand experience. Everything to going through boot camp, to every school you go through, or whatever, you got to give yourself to the process or you're going to have one rough time. Same thing with the horses. You got to give yourself to that horse. You got to relax. You got to quit thinking about thinking. And we're trying to tell him to relax, and you can just tell his jaw is getting a little tighter. And he goes, "I am relaxing." Well, he was trying to whisper, but it came out like that. Took about another 20 minutes to get that horse to calm down because, again, the horse feels everything you project and will project it back to you. Long story short, an hour and a half later, because we would not let this young man out of the arena. He wanted to get pissed off and, I'm done. Oh, no, you ain't. We ain't letting you off the hook that easy. He's walking shoulder to shoulder with this horse around the arena, stop and go the other way, even got him to trot a little bit. He works his way back to the center of the arena, and he says, "Now what?" And we teach him how to shut down. You slouch, you kind of kick your hip out a little bit, put your head down, because horses learn in the release. They don't learn when you're training them. Okay, so this horse starts licking her lips, and it's like, see, she's learning. She likes what you did. Within 5 minutes, that horse comes up, puts its nose right here in this young man's chest. Okay, he's probably about 29 years old. He starts melting and crying like he's 2, uncontrollably. I mean, you could tell it was not of him. Something was melting off. So we finally get him out because you can't just rush in and get him. You'll ruin what he just did with that horse. And he comes out. We give him his alone time. Later that night, we always do a campfire where you have to write down in a little notebook something you're wanting to let go of. And he stands up to put it in the fire. Once you throw the page in the fire and the words burn, it's gone. You have to let it go. Well, he shared when he was 19 years old, he spent 9 months in the brig in the United States Air Force, accused of sexual assault he knew he didn't do. Now, they eventually got the young lady who was base hopping and getting young men drunk and accusing them of stuff and let him out. But now you're talking from 19 to 29. His own unit didn't believe him. His own government didn't believe him. Yeah, they dropped the charges, but everybody looked at him different after that. And that he admitted all that to us. Now, there were 2 other veterans, and again, I'm a patriot. It's hard enough, we know, for y'all to share with other veterans. Imagine being able to share that with me. That humbles the hell out of me when y'all share stories with me like that. Because again, cowboy boots, not combat boots. So I thank everyone out there who shares those kind of stories. He threw the page in the fire. He said, this may not be the final thing, but it's one hell of a beginning. And thank you for what you're doing and allowing us to come out here and work with these great animals. I was about in tears. I mean, because again, just the power of being able to share that, and made the other two veterans share something as well that said they probably wouldn't have had he not shared.
Now, how long ago was this?
This was back in January.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I think I know the person that you're talking about. I think we're friends with that person. So, and what an amazing story, you know. But for something like, you know, I think, and this is just something that I do. I actually preach on. It's called the 3 pillars of forgiveness. I believe that, you know, like a lot of times, if we're still carrying around crap from 20, 30 years ago, it's like walking on a treadmill. You know, if we just have our rucksack and we keep on throwing crap in it, eventually it's going to get so heavy where we're not going to be able to move anymore. Where I teach on the 3 pillars of forgiveness. Now, this all comes from AA and NA, because I've been in recovery 33 years now, going on 34. But they taught me that, one, you know, if you want to be free, first you got to, you know, forgive those that have hurt you. You know, don't forget, but forgive those that hurt us. Also, you know, ask for forgiveness for people that we've hurt, because, you know, hurt people. And a lot of times, you know, we've hurt a lot of people. So we have to ask for forgiveness, because even the Lord, even the Bible says, which I'm a Christian, I believe in my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, that, you know, he says, you know, forgive and the way you will be forgiven. And I've done a lot of crazy crap. So I want to forgive anybody that's ever hurt me. But the main point was, the hardest part is forgiving ourselves. Because a lot of veterans, first responders, we've done things no human should ever see or do. And a lot of us just hold on to that. And we have to forgive ourselves in order to become free. Please talk about that a little bit, because I'm sure you've seen a lot of that.
Yeah, you know, you really do. And I mean, I love those 3 things. You know, we are a faith-based organization. You can kind of see here on my shirt, you know, this is our corporate logo. The cross is in the middle of everything we do. You know, that is so true, that sometimes you're forgiving others, not for them. You know, like, I don't want to forgive them, they screwed me over. You're not forgiving them for them. You're forgiving them for you. Yeah. So you can come to peace with whatever it is and move forward. Again, that's part of laying down that heavy coat of burden and moving forward as a new and improved version of yourself. Emerson says, do the thing and you'll have the power. You can't have the power and then go do the thing, right? So you got to lay down the heavy coat of burden, whatever that is. And hey, I know I've walked through some crap that would crush most people in life, but I've never fired a shot in anger or had a buddy die in my arms. So I understand there's different levels of all that. But yeah, I mean, realize that you've done what you've done or seen what you've seen, and forgive those. If it's your enemy, we talked to a lot of Vietnam vets after the debacle of ending Afghanistan. I thought we were actually going to talk to more Afghan vets. Like, I graduated high school in 91. So some of my buddies went straight to the sandbox right out of high school. I thought I was going to be talking more to that era. It was actually Vietnam vets, because it looked the same.
Yeah.
Saigon in 75, you know, when they come out, oh no, this isn't like Vietnam. Bullshit. You saw that Huey lifting off just like you did in Saigon in 75. Yeah. So it brought back a lot of bad juju for a lot of them guys. But forgive your enemy. I say that knowing it's not the easiest thing to do. Whatever your enemy is, your enemy could be that bottle, right? I can't tell you how many vets I talked to. There were a fifth a day, and they said they would have drank more, but they ran out of day.
Yeah.
Right. So your enemy could be all kinds of things. Forgive yourself, move forward for yourself, move forward for your family, your kids. Again, those veterans coming out today, unfortunately, I know this, the war machine's never going to quit. You know, the companies want stock dividends, so they're going to keep making bullets, planes, guns, tanks, you know, bombs, the whole 9 yards. So there's always going to be somebody we're going to have to fight. And unfortunately, we're going to have to pay for it with blood and treasure of our young men and women. So everyone that's coming out today, forgive yourself and prepare yourself so you can reach back and help that next one and teach them how to do it and them how to do it. And we will end this 44 plus a day.
And I love that. But also for me, I found that my biggest enemy was the 6 inches between my ears.
Oh yeah.
That was my biggest enemy. Because I've been taking a deep dive into mindset. A lot of people like to talk about Napoleon Hill. Well, I went back even further. I wanted to know, well, who taught him?
Mm-hmm.
And Carnegie's and stuff like that. But the mindset, I think, is the most important thing in life. Whether you succeed or you fail, it's in your mind. And I think so that's one of the things. But also, one thing I also learned that how important self-care is. Like that's why I always keep my cup here, and I just finished it, but I keep it here to remind me that I can't pour into you if this cup is empty.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people they're trying to help other people. They're taking arrows for other people, but they're empty inside. So please,
they think it's easier to shut out their stuff and go help other people.
So talk a little bit about self-care.
Yeah. That might work for a while, right? The I'm going to go help others so I don't have to deal with my own crap. My dad from the Navy says you got to have your shit right in your ditty bag. I mean, it's like, you gotta take care of your own house before you can go help other people's houses. Read books. The most successful people on the planet read books. Yes, we live in this world today, right? People don't have carpal tunnel in their wrists anymore. They have carpal thumbs because we're doing this all the time. Okay. Great. Yeah, you can read books on here, but grab something that's actually got real pages and read books. The most successful people on the planet sometimes read 2 or 3 books a month. Learn things. You mentioned Napoleon Hill. Get into some of the motivational speakers. Yeah, some of them are cheesy, but find a one you like that resonates with you. I love a quote Les Brown says. Les Brown says, if you're going to fall down, fall on your back, because if you look up, you can get up. Right. I mean, that's so true. That's not some cheesy motivational speech. That's life.
Yeah.
The Rocky movie, right? Life ain't sunshine and rainbows. It ain't how hard you hit. It's how hard you get back up from getting hit. There's so many things you can apply to life, but you have to educate yourself. We have more knowledge more information at our fingertips today than ever before. Our generation had to read the Encyclopedia Britannica, or ask somebody if they knew. And if they didn't know, well, you just didn't get the answer. Yeah. Now, because of technology, we have more information than ever, but less knowledge.
Yeah. And for me, I'm a 9th grade dropout, and I did a post this morning, but I've read over 6,000 books. And right now I got 14 books going at one time. And while I'm walking in the morning, I listen to Audible. And I'm actually listening to a book by Robert Cialdini talking about influence, persuasion. So, I'm always trying to level up. And I think, the smartphone should make us smarter. It should make us dumb.
It should. They've been making people more dumb since 2007. But, it should. Because, again, folks, there's no excuses anymore, right? We're all stuck in traffic, or, maybe now you work from home since COVID. Whatever the case might be, instead of spending 2 hours a night on your favorite alphabet news channel, whatever side of the aisle you sit on, and you want to watch politics and the election coming up, screw that. Find something. Sure. Okay. Have fun. If that's your release, pay attention to it, but don't drudge your whole life through it. Educate yourself on some things. Listen to podcasts, find things that can influence you and help you be better. Because I'm telling you, folks, it's infectious. What you put out there is what you're going to get. If you got nothing but negativity all day, don't be surprised if you got a bunch of shitty days. It doesn't mean because you're positive, every day is going to be, peaches, roses, and fluffy bunnies, because I'm one of the most positive guys on the planet, and there are days that just suck. But you process it, you move on. Tomorrow's a new day. So always be educating yourself.
All right. So I got 2 questions, and then we're going to let you go on your busy and beautiful weekend. How do we find you? How do we support your mission? And how, if we need help, how do we reach out?
So easiest way is our website, theveteransranch.org, theveteransranch.org. You can hit our contact page. Our email's simple, contact@theveteransranch.org. Our phone number's on there as well. It's area code 863-815-5896. We're 9 to 5, Monday through Saturday. There are times if I got nothing going on. Sunday is for, God, family, NASCAR, and Dallas Cowboy football. Not necessarily in that order. As long as you're touching all the bases, you're doing good. I know I just made a lot of people mad when I said Dallas Cowboys. Oh, well. So that's how you can reach out to us and support folks. Help us spread the word. But these dudes, the word horse and sheep never go hand in hand. This does take money. Right now, throughout the end of the year, here's what we're asking people. We're looking for, and you'll see a theme here, we're looking for 44,000 people to make a one-time donation of $44 in memory of the 44 a day we're losing. That's going to go towards our building fund to help us get the piece of dirt, get stuff built where we can have a flagship ranch that'll have over 40 horses on it that can serve over 10,000 veterans a year in one location. So 44,000 people, one-time donation, $44. We're talking less than one night out at a restaurant with you and the family. And
you also said that no veteran pays.
That's correct. Yeah, a veteran and immediate household family. No, we don't get into cousins and grandmas and everything else. So, the veteran and the spouse and their kids, they come out and do what we ask them to do free of charge.
All right. So my last question is, I normally don't ask this question, but because I feel that the Lord's leading me. And thank you, first of all, for being a brother in Christ. And I love that about you. But, a lot of people are struggling with anxiety, depression. They're not feeling peace. And a lot of it is because they moved away from God. And they say that if you don't feel close to God, you're the one that moved. He's there today, yesterday, and tomorrow. So if there's somebody listening to us right now that is struggling and wants to find some peace, how can they get back closer to him again?
One, we're more than happy to talk to it. We are brothers in Christ, and we are not ashamed. We do not hide from it. We've turned down money, and other brothers out there have turned down money because they wanted us to take religion out of our program material. We won't do it. We will not bend from that. We are also partnered up with Cowboys for Christ out of Tampa. It's a national organization, but we are partnered up with the group in Tampa. If you don't have a Bible and you need one, give me, shoot us an email with your address and we will mail you one. They're easy read versions. Not everybody grew up with the old King James, understanding the these, the thous, and those. If like I did, if you can read the King James and be a believer, God bless you, because that's not always the easiest version to read. But whatever I have, sometimes we have regular Bibles, we have themed Bibles. Anything we can send you that'll help you get that much closer, because you're right on when you say God's always there. We're the ones that move away. But at the same time, too, one of my favorites is footprints. When you only see one set of footprints, he didn't leave you. He might be carrying you.
And I love that. And by the way, because it just hit my heart. When I say that, like when I sell my T-shirts, my hat, my coffee, 100% of my profits go to a company called Project Die Hard. And they're a Christian organization that have been offered high six figures to take Christ out of the organization. And Brian turned them down.
That's why I brought it up. Brian's a great friend of mine. And can't speak highly enough of that dude. And yeah, that's the point, folks. You got to understand that sometimes people will write a check to make themselves look good, but that check comes with strings. Brian or myself or organizations we affiliate with will not change our core principles just to take your check.
Yep. So I love it. So guys, make sure, like I said, if you do buy one of my T-shirts or if you buy one of my coffees, 100% of the profits go to Brian and Project Die Hard. And he don't make any money off of it. It all goes back to to
Yep.
Project Die Hard. So,
Yep.
guys, if you're interested in that, let me know. If you're interested in having your own show, StreamYard wants to throw you some cash. Guys, make sure you check out JR's. Make sure you check out his podcast. I mean, his oh, you got a podcast too, right? I
Yeah.
want on that. Talk to us to that, because I'm a podcast listener. I listen. I don't think I've heard news or the radio in years. Talk about
I know, same way. The Veterans Ranch Show. Sometimes we're out more than once a week, but we're every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern on the Disability Channel, which is actually out of Canada, but they're getting a bigger foothold in the United States. We just got picked up by OBBM Network out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and soon to be also on Vet Radio Syndicate and anywhere podcasts are offered. You can hear us on there. So that's the program show. But I'm telling you, if something hits my heart and I think it's worth more than just another Instagram post for the day, we'll just go live on StreamYard, and you can see us on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, anywhere social media platforms out there. I'm here to tell you folks, we're on it.
Hopefully one day I'll get an invitation to be on that show.
You're going to be on it soon, brother. Guarantee it.
All right, guys. So make sure you check out JR. He's very easy to get in touch with. You send him a message, he sends it right back. So he's not that kind of guy that's going to ghost you whatsoever. And I just want JR, when you do see your dad today, give him a big hug and a kiss for me, and tell him thank you for his service. It means a lot.
I sure will, brother.
All right, guys. Remember, it's Friday. Have an amazing week. As my T-shirt says, today I decide. You guys have the decision. You can either be a victim or you can be a victor. So choose what you want to be today. Make that decision, and also make that decision to subscribe. Leave a comment if this touched your heart, because it really touched mine. JR, brother, have an amazing week, and I can't wait to get out to Florida and be able to hang out sometime.
Absolutely, man. Greatly appreciate it. And thank you again to everybody out there watching and supporting.
All right, brother. God bless you. And guys, remember, vertical momentum. The only way to go is but up. I love you guys. Have an amazing weekend. JR, have a great weekend, brother.
Thank you, man.